You're listening to the Real Elevation podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hendricks, and here we discuss topics on personal fitness, well-being, and elevation of mind and body. Join us as we help build and grow a community of real, elevated men and women. If you're currently feeling frustrated, flat, and fed up with life, or want to be a physically and mentally elevated individual, you're invited to join us each and every week here on the Real Elevation podcast. Welcome to the RE family and get ready to elevate your mind and body. Hello fitness fam, welcome back to the Real Elevation podcast. I'm your host Mike Hendricks, and today we have another outstanding, informative and elevating show for you. I'd like to welcome all first-time listeners to the podcast, and be sure to stay to the end where I'll be sharing all my social media links where you can connect with us and myself as we continue to grow the Real Elevation podcast community. Welcome, God bless, thank you once again for tuning in, and if you're here for the first time, where have you been? But welcome. So today we are continuing on talking about how we can make our fitness journey more fun. We spoke about in part one, and if you've not listened to part one, I'll leave a link in the show notes where you can go check it out. How we can go about making our fitness journey more fanciful, having more freedom, asking ourselves the question, what if it didn't feel like such a chore and too much of a challenge? And how, if we are taking ourselves a little bit too seriously, we might be sabotaging our progress. So we're looking at how we can fix that with a little bit of laughter, a little bit of play, and also a little bit of science being applied. So again, if you've not listened to part one, you may get more benefit out of this particular episode if you go back and listen to that one. And I said I will leave a link in the show notes. So we know that being too serious is a bit of a problem. It can affect our mindset, and I spoke about my own personal journey where there was a time when I was really into my fitness. I was doing it most days of the week, but then reality happened and life changed, and my circumstances dictated that I couldn't dedicate the same amount of time, and it became a chore. It took the fun out of it, and I'm sharing this with you because I don't want you to fall into the same steps. When we're stressed, when we're worrying about things and how we're not doing our exercise, or we're not really having any sort of enjoyment, it becomes a bit of a chore, it becomes a labour. It can cause stress, and obviously that can be counterproductive, and that's exactly what we don't want. So we're going to share with you 3 simple steps that you can apply in continuation from what we were talking about in the last episode, that's going to help instill more fun, a little bit more freedom into your workout, and maybe take out some of that frustration and that forcing that you may be feeling, and instill more flow. So, big one, step number 1 is to celebrate your wins, regardless if they're big or small. Now, we as humans, and I've fallen victim to this myself, we typically tend to refrain from congratulating ourselves when we do something of note. We tend to minimize our success. But one of the ways that you can start to have more fun is to recognize when you've made progress, and celebrate when you've made a win. Celebrate when you've done something of note, as opposed to shying away from it, or don't celebrating, or not congratulating yourself. We need to celebrate our wins. Remember that we need to celebrate our wins, even if the wins are small. But it helps to build our confidence. It helps to underline certainty in our minds. So when we're talking ourselves up, when we're bigging ourselves up, when we're celebrating our wins, we're recognizing the effort that we've done. It helps to create in our minds that certainty, because your mind and your memory keep score. When you've done something good, your memory keeps score of that, and it builds that conviction. And when you've not done something that you should have done, or you've abstained, or you've missed something that you should have done, your mind also keeps store of that, and it builds trust. So we need to make sure that we're celebrating our wins and giving ourselves to help build that confidence. Now, one of the things that you can do in terms of action steps is to track when you've made any sort of progress. So make a note, journal it down, make a note of in your phone or in your journal, and celebrate on social media if you're that way out, letting people know how you've made some progress over the last few days or months or whatever it is. The other thing that you can do in terms of an action step is to reward yourself. So treat yourself to something of note, something that you've maybe been putting off for a period of time. It might be a movie night, celebrate with a pizza. That might sound counterproductive, but if that's something that you want to look forward to, and obviously it's in moderation, why not? So getting yourself a new outfit, treat yourself, but just recognize and send a signal to your subconscious mind and your conscious mind that you're doing the right things and you're celebrating that with a win. The science suggests and the science backs it up by saying that doing these things, these actions, celebrating our wins, triggers those dopamine releases, which we all know dopamine is that reward chemical. That's one of the reasons why addictive behavior can be negative, because it's that dopamine hit that we're seeking. And that reinforces habits. So if you're celebrating, you're tracking things down, you're making notes, you're also celebrating yourself by rewarding yourself in the right way. That's a great way to keep on track and have more fun on your fitness journey. All right, number 2 is to buddy up with a fitness friend. Now, I recognise, and this can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, but I recognise that I'm a bit of a lone wolf. I like to do a lot of things by myself. I'm just wired differently that way in that sense. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to be that lone wolf where you're journeying on your fitness path by yourself. We are by nature social animals, and our default is to be in that herd or to be in the hive. So why not use that to your advantage to find your own tribe or a friend when it comes to having more fun with your fitness? Find people of like mind who want to have fun in their fitness. Join a group, join classes, or maybe just a partner, a friend that you can build that bond with and have more fun. Find your hype squad, someone who's going to big you up and encourage you and tell you when you're doing great, and also challenge you in a way that can be fun as well. So it could be something simple like tracking one of your friends to, a Zumba class or a dance class or any sort of class that you're into, where you're in an environment where it's, it's fun orientated. It could be something like a running club or a swim club or whatever it is for you. Find time with a friend to go and enjoy fitness together. As I say, we are social animals and we do like to be, for the most part, around like-minded people. So if you can find your tribe, if you can find people that are into fitness who are going to support you on your fitness, on your well-being journey, why not do that? It's going to help to fortify good habits. It's going to get you in a fun place, and by having fun you're more likely to stick at it, and we know that when we're sticking at it and have that consistency instilled in our routine, we're more likely to win. So we know being around people that have a similar sort of mindset, being around people who want to see you succeed, is going to encourage you and continue to help you move towards your goal. And it's all about having fun. It's more likely that you're going to have fun in and around people that are on the same mindset, on the same path, on the same journey as you. And the science backs this up as well. We know that social workouts tend to create and release more oxytocin, which, as you probably know, that's the bonding hormone. So we know that science says that we can reward ourselves, as I mentioned previously on step 1, with that dopamine hit when we're bonding, being around people, enjoying ourselves in that social setting. We're releasing that oxytocin hormone, which is that bonding hormone, and that's a beneficial hormone in many senses because we know that it helps to reduce stress, but it also increases trust in and around our peers. I think there was a science paper that was done in 2015 by the Science of Behavioral Medicine, And that study showed that folks with workout buddies are 95% more likely to hit their goals. Yeah. So being around people who are supporting you, encouraging you, who've got your back, want to see you win, you're 95%, according to this study, more likely to reach your goals. So consider that. Buddying it with a friend, finding someone that you can partner with, someone who has your back. Okay, so remember, we're talking about having more fitness in our workout, yeah? More humour, less heartache. These are the continuing on of those 3 steps, how we can have more fun in our workout and on our fitness journey. So more humour, less heartache. We talked about number 1, remembering to celebrate our wins, taking notes. Number 2, we spoke about buddying up with a friend, finding your tribe, finding people who are going to support you on your fitness and your well-being journey. And number 3, this is a big one, and you hear me talk about this a lot of time, but it's to follow a formula. Follow a formula equals less frustration and more fun. Now, where I say follow a formula, I'm asking you to consider following a plan or a blueprint, something that's proven to get people or get you from A to B. Yeah, for a lot of us, when we start off on our fitness journey, we have this overarching goal that we want to lose weight or get ourselves fitter or reduce pain in our body, become more mobile, increase our physical capacity. So we're clear, or we can get clear on the end goal, but we don't know how to get there. So if you think of it, and you've heard me use this simple analogy before in the past, you have a desire to go on holiday, and your holiday destination is Barcelona or Paris or anywhere in the world, yeah? But you don't know how to get there. You need some form of direction. You need some form of map, a plan to get there. Because if you don't have that plan, you can go all round about the houses, here, there and everywhere, wanting to get to that specific destination, Paris, Barcelona, wherever it is, but without that plan, without that roadmap, you don't know how to get there. So finding a formula that you can follow with a proven track record that's going to help you reduce that frustration and have more fun. And that's one of the reasons why I created my online programs, the Rejuvenation One-to-One Coaching Program and the CBAS Core Build Accelerate System, to save people time, money and energy so they can have more fun and less frustration. So one of the reasons why it's important that you remember that step number 3 is to follow a formula. Yeah, so think about what it is that you want to achieve. Is there a system out there that helps you to achieve that? Save you time, money, and effort. Because I've seen personally and also professionally with people that I work with, that's one of the big frustrations, is that they start off on the go on a journey to achieve said goal, whatever that may be, but they get frustrated because they're not making progress. And the reason why they're not making the progress is because they're not following a system that's helping them to save that time, money and energy. So it's key to remember that. How can I be more efficient? And we've talked about this before. Being efficient helps you be more effective. And as you be more effective, as you be more efficient, you're going to make strides towards your goals. You're going to keep yourself motivated. As you keep more motivated, you're going to help to instill more discipline. As you instill more discipline, you're going to see those goals being achieved. So it has that knock-on effect. So remember about, can I be smarter? We've heard that saying before, train smarter, not harder. Can I be efficient? And one of the best ways that you can be efficient and more effective is by following a formula. So, my friends, that is the 3 additional steps on this part 2 on how you can have more humor, less heartache, how to have more fun with your fitness, and these 3 additional simple steps. Number 1, we talk about celebrating those wins. Number 2, we talked about buddying up with a fitness friend and finding your tribe. And number 3, we said following a formula which will equal less frustration and more fun. So, how do you find those steps? Are there those 3 steps something that you can follow? And I'm sure if you think about it, if you did, you start to have and enjoy more fun in your fitness again. Yep. So have a think. Can I start to follow a formula? Can I start to celebrate those wins more? Can I find a friend that's going to support me, or a tribe, or a class, or a community of people? Now, if that is something that you are considering, I'm inviting you to apply for our Core Build coaching program. It's my 90-day program named the Real Rejuvenation program, designed for busy women over the age of 45 who want to reclaim their fitness, start producing and performing to their optimum best without following crash diets or long boring workouts in the gym. Now again, I'm going to leave some information in the show notes so you can click on that link and we can arrange to have a conversation about you and how you can start to get back to looking and feeling your best, reclaim your fitness and take charge of your health, and know you where you want to and the way you desire, and to know you the way that you deserve. As I said, I'll leave a link in the show notes. Alright guys, that's it from me today. I trust you found today's episode, again, insightful and uplifting and elevating. Remember to leave us a 5-star review if you've not done that already, and share this podcast with your connections and your community as we continue to grow. I want to say a big thank you for you doing that. Continue to do that, because each week we get more and more downloads of the podcast, and that's down to you spreading the word as we continue to elevate people's mind and body and helping them to find more freedom through fitness. All right. Remember, be well, be wise, be cool, be calm, and keep it real. Blessings and chi. Peace.